Hey guys, I've got some exciting news. Have you ever been struggling with something and somebody came and helped you out? Well, last week you probably noticed that I was struggling with some of the Spanish words because I speak one language and it's Southern. That's it. So I was really having difficulty and I reached out to a friend and you are going to see her in the video this week. And she's helping me to pronounce the Spanish words. I'm so excited. Maya, you are the best.
Hola amigos, soy Tomaís. Palabras en español. Folk art, arte folclórico.
Hi there, Misty here. Today we're going to begin our second lesson in Mexican folk art. I hope you enjoyed making your alebrije last week
Alebrije.
and the process of printmaking. Let me know. Drop me a comment. Let me know how it went. This week we are going to create tin art or hojalate. But we are
Hojalata.
going to prepare some paper for our third project first. Trying to think ahead a little bit here. So what I want you to do is first watch the video and then you can go back and do the steps with me. So prepare a paper for the third project. You are going to need some brown paper. So I have a small brown paper bag like this that I'm going to cut open and use. You could use one of these. This is what I happen to have at the house. I also have a big brown paper sack that will work just as well. This one's a little bit thinner. This is a little thicker. You could even use craft paper if you have it. Whatever you have, that's what we want you to use. So, step one. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut down the crease of our brown paper sack and cut the bottom off so that it's a long flat sheet. Then we're going to begin to tear around the edge of the paper to give it a jagged edge. But I want you to do it like it's like an orange peel. I want you to try to do it in one strip. See how I've got my hand there holding it so it doesn't tear into the middle of the paper? So you're just going to tear off the very edge, and let's see if I can do it. Ta-da! I did it. Next, you are going to wad your paper into a ball and wet it. You can stick it under a sink and then squeeze it out, squeeze the water out. Then you're going to lay it out flat to get ready for our very next step. Be very gentle with it so it doesn't tear. So now you're going to paint your paper with watered down black paint, and you want to make sure that you have something underneath your paper so that it does not go through, because it will. And just, it doesn't have to cover it absolutely completely. You're just trying to go for an old look here. So now you're going to take your paper and hang it up or lay it flat to dry, and you'll be ready for the next lesson. I would suggest doing more than one so that you have some backup paper just in case. So now we're ready to do our hojalata.
Hojalata.
So here are the materials that you're going to need for your hojalata. So this is a large piece of chipboard or the back of a cereal box. It doesn't matter if it has paint on it, it's fine, because we're going to cover it up. You also need 2 5x5 squares for your actual art pieces. These will fit on here, and we'll be able to add a nice little border at the bottom and the top. So that's all you need. Now, if you don't have chipboard or a large cardboard cereal box, you could also just use regular cardboard. This is a little thicker. But as long as it's big enough for those two pieces to sit on, or at least one of those pieces to sit on, you're great. So we're also going to need some tacky glue. The next thing you're going to need is shoe polish, black shoe polish. I ordered this on Amazon for about $4, and it came within a day. If you don't happen to have any around. I didn't. You'll also need some Sharpies for the colored part, different colors of permanent markers or craft paint, and Reynolds wrap. Now, you want the most heavy-duty aluminum foil that you can find, because even this had a tendency to tear if I press too hard. So you're going to try to find the heaviest aluminum foil that you can. You're going to need a dull pencil, yes, a dull pencil, so that it doesn't poke through your aluminum foil, and a pair of scissors. And then after that, I think we're ready to go. Okay, so now we have all of our lines. So what we're going to do now is do a border. We're going to do a design on each of these lines so that we can color it, and then we'll cut it out and make it the size that we need to make it. So I'm going to do a very simple border. I'm just going to go up and down, up and down. I'm going to make triangles on 4 of these, okay? So do here, and just to kind of keep them the same, they don't have to be perfectly the same, but this gives me a little guide so that they are pretty much the same. And I want 4 of them. And again, I'm using a dull pencil. I think I have something underneath there. Up and down, up and down. And then here, this is my 4th one. Again, I'm meeting back up with that other, so it's almost a diamond here with the other triangle. It makes a diamond. And then I know the size of my border is about the same, okay? So that's how I'm going to do that. So now I'm going to cut this off, because these are my 4 with the triangles. You can see now I don't want to cut them out individually just yet, because I'm going to make them look old. There. All right. So now we're going to make it look old. How are we going to do that? We are going to use black shoe polish. I'm going to punch it over there, and I'm just going to go up and down, maybe around, because I want to get it into those little cracks that where I have the impressions where I have drawn. I need to get a little bit more. I can press down. You don't want to press too hard on it, because you don't want it to take your dent out that you created for your line. But here you go. All right. So now I'm going to let that dry for about 5 minutes. Okay, so now I've got that down. Before that dries completely, I'm going to make some designs on top. I'm just going to make some little swirls. One goes one way, and it's a little sticky. And one goes the other way. They're kind of those little spirals that have been in art since, oh my goodness, since I have no idea. And probably because, I mean, way back in the days of the Egyptians, they had this symbol. And probably because it is a naturally occurring symbol in nature. I just tore my paper. Pressing down too hard. You know, there are seashells that have this little spiral. I'll give anybody who can figure out what this spiral is called. You get extra points when we have our meeting. Starts with an F. And it is related to math. How about that? Art and math related. Who knew? So, I'm making all these little curlicues on top of, I got one more row. And I haven't done all these exactly the same. If I were really wanting to do a super great pattern, I would try to do them all the same. But I'm thinking once we get this cut out, this is going to be our frame. So if it's not exactly, I'm not too worried about it. All right. Now then, I'm going to take a piece of a cotton ball, and I'm going to try to wipe some of this off just to give it a little variance. Don't want to wipe it all off. In fact, I kind of like it with all the black on there. So if you don't get it off, if it doesn't come off, if this actually I think stayed a little long, so that I think will work nicely. Now I'm going to cut these out into strips, and I'm going to set them aside so that I'm going to use these to frame out my piece. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to take our 5x5 piece of cardboard, put it right in the center of a piece of aluminum foil, and this is a little large, so I'm going to cut off all but about an inch around. Okay, it doesn't have to be exact. You're just going to bend it back over, and I don't want to have a lot left over. I kind of cut it a little too big, so I'm just going to cut it down. Okay, now I'm going to bend it over, and you want the I'm doing it backwards. I want the other side. I want the shiny side up, and then my dull side to show. There is my first one. And then I'm going to choose, I think I will choose, I'm going to choose this part to start. I'm going to center it up. And if you want to, you can cut it exactly out. There's no need to. I'm going to center it up. Then I'm going to take my dull pencil and I am going to trace those lines. I'm going to press pretty hard here, okay? Press hard when you're doing it this way. See how that's showing up? And I'm just going to hold it still. If you want to tape it down, you can do that, if that would help you. But I'm going to just trace over every one of the lines with my pencil, pressing hard. If I move it a little bit, that's okay. We're not going to worry about it. There we go. There. It's probably a good idea to try to work inside out, just so that you don't, finish up and realize, oh, I missed a whole line there. With these lines, it's going to be a little tricky. I'm going to try to go section by section so that I don't forget a line, but if I do, I can fill it in when I get to the other side. If I realize that I goofed, because guess what? Art is not a perfect science. I think that's why I like it. Okay, and then I'm gonna get my flames here. I'm tracing kind of quickly, but if you want to take your time with it, I think that's wonderful. Now, ta-da! I don't know if you can see that, but there is a pattern there. Now, I'm going to go back with my pencil, not pressing quite as hard this time, but I want to go back and make those grooves in my aluminum foil as deep as I can without tearing the paper. So I've got that cardboard behind it that makes it a little bit more, it makes it a little softer so that it doesn't tear. Like I said, this one's a little tricky because it's got all that really interesting, intricate design there. I'm going to do my flames. So the Sacred Heart is a symbol of God's eternal love. I think that's really sweet and very cool that they use this symbol. The flame is like the eternal flame, and how God is always with us. All right, so I think, see, now I can make my own, quit swinging around up there. I can make my own choices as far as the outside. Are there any borders I would like to do? Like, maybe I want to recreate a little bit of something like that. So if I did, I would go down like this first, and then I'm going to take another line and go right beside it to make it more of a ribbon. And then I'm going to go the opposite way in my curls. And again, make another line. I have to really pay attention to see if this is an outer line or an inner line. And there, I've got a border. So I'm going to do that on each one of my sides. And there we go. Okay. Now, the next step, if I wanted to, I could put lines in here too. I think I want to leave that, because I did like dots. Okay, now I have it. Now the next step is to apply my shoe polish so that it will, I want to make sure that I squish it a little bit, get it all down in those grooves. Put the top back on. Oh, and a paper towel. So you can use a soft paper towel, or you could use cotton balls. Let it sit here for a minute. I'm going to put one tiny finger there, start to wipe. There. Now, see how old that looks? Really fun. Okay, so there's one. So I'm going to set it aside and let that dry. So now we're going to create our sun. I'll show you how to draw that. We're going to fold over all of our aluminum foil, shiny side on the inside. Fold down your edges really tightly. Fold them over, rub them on the edge. Or you can fold down the corners like this, and then fold it over, press it tightly so it's all smooth, and that's going to be where we glue to the back on our piece. So we're going to flip it over, and this is the side we're going to work on. Now I'm going to take a bottle cap. Yep, you knew I would use a bottle cap. It's a detergent cap. So I'm going to take a bottle cap for the size of my sun, put it in the very center, and then I'm going to just use my dull pencil and draw around the edge of it. Get a little bit, yeah, so there's my circle. Now I'm going to take my pencil and gently retrace that so that it's a deeper groove. And then I'm going to take my pencil and go just a little bit outside, so I have a double line there, just like that. If it's not perfect, it's okay, not a problem. Now we're going to draw our sun. First, we're going to draw the rays of our sun. You could draw a wavy line. You could draw spikes like triangles. I'm going to draw these little kind of wavy rays. They almost look like waves on the ocean. So it's a curved line. I go halfway over, then I go back and back down. So I'm just going to go around the edge of my sun, and I'm going to turn my aluminum so that it's easy for me. Now I'm going to look, I'm getting close to the end, so I'm going to look and make sure that this space is going to space it out so I don't have a big gap. So I would just adjust the sizes of those last two to fit. So there we go. There's our rays. Now I'm going to draw two eyes. I'm going to put curved line at the top and the bottom. Then I'm going to do another really thin curved line at the top for the eyelid. And now we got a circle, but we're not going to have that circle, the entire circle show. We're going to have some of it hiding up under the eyelid. So there's the eyes. Now I want to make this a sun and moon. And we've got our eyes in the center. The nose will be we're going to divide the bottom half of this into thirds. So my nose would be the first third and my mouth would be on the second third. So right here's where my mouth will go. And draw me some big luscious lips. My sons always have luscious lips. And then we need a nose. So because I'm going to make this half moon, half sun, I'm going to start at the top and do a nose. Start up there. It's going to look like an upside down 7. There's the line and there's the other line. See that? A 7. Just like that. Just upside down. Now I'm going to take the line and go straight to the top of my lip, not through my mouth, but straight to the top. And because it's a moon, I'm going to have it curve around to the edge. There we go. So you see the moon? It's kind of on top of the sun. Because one of the Aztec findings that they found was the big sun calendar that was carved out of lava, and so that was a calendar that would predict eclipses, and so they used that calendar, and so that's why I wanted to make a little eclipse here. And I'm going to add some designs on the face of my moon, just leaving spaces. I'm going to, think about a line that goes straight across, but then it ends up, I don't go through like my eye and lips. Now I'm going to go around and add some curly cues. I like that symbol, that curly cue, and between each ray, and we need to add a border, and this is a very simple border, just a little line, just almost like a little tick mark on each of the sides. And I'm trying to space them. I'm building a pattern, so I'm trying to space them apart the same amount. They're going to be the same length, and just very quickly make this little border of lines. And when we get our shoe polish in there, it's going to look really cool. All right, so there is our sun. Now, I want to add some color. I always like to at least color in the eyes and lips. So I'm going to take a red Sharpie. I'm going to color in the lips here. See how that stands out on that aluminum foil? Looks really cool. And then I'm going to choose green for the eyes because I have green eyes. You might want to choose a different color. But see how that stands out? I might want to add some other color. Maybe some, what do you think about some color on the rays? I think that might look good. Maybe two different colors. I'm going to outline it with a dark orange. And I'm just outlining on the inside of that shape. And I'm going to go around and get the edge of the circle so that it'll make that double line that we made stand out even more. So I'm going to keep going all the way around until I've gotten the outside or the inside of each ray outlined. And then I'm going to go back in and color it with the yellow. Now for some reason my yellow Sharpie seems to be a little stiffer than some of the other Sharpies, and it's adding some texture to this. It's adding a line. You see that? Well, that's even better, because the more lines you have, the more that black shoe polish is going to get down into those grooves and add a little bit of interest. So now I could color the face if I want, but I think I'm just going to leave it right there and add this black shoe polish. So I'm going to go down and up, down and up, just getting it into as many of the grooves as possible. See, doesn't that look cool with that color shining through? But it just gives that dull finish to it. And I'm going to go back with my, see there's like a little blob. I'm going to make sure all the blobs are off. And I'm just going to leave that and let that dry just like it is. I think that looks fantastic. See that? See how different? See, this one has a little color. That one does not. But they both look really cool. They're going to look awesome together. Let's see. I've got these two. I think I remember I've got to let them dry. So I'm going to set them aside. And then we're going to get started on, I think I'll put a little bit more here. And let that dry. Okay, now we're going to do our background. And because these are the dull side, I'm going to use the shiny side on this one, on the background. And we're going to paint it. So I'm just going to do what I've done before. Remember, this is the cereal box that we had before that I just, and I'm using this because these two will sit here. We're going to frame them. I think that's going to work out there. All right, so I'm going to, just like with the rest of them, I'm going to bend it over. I'm going to crunch it up. You don't want to do that. Bend it over. Bend it over. So this actually has a lot of steps to it, but I think you're going to be real happy with the way it turns out. All right, so we've got that all folded down. So here's our background. So see, because it's shiny, it's going to stand out. And we're going to put a border like this. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to color this. I want to paint it. We've got to do a design first. So again, we're going to do some designs. Let's do some really big designs. Here's my curly cue again. just because that's really fun and easy. But you could do big lines this way, and then I'm going to do another one inside that. So I repeat my pattern. How about I do another curly, and then we're going to go back, just like riding a roller coaster. We're going to go back until we hit the center. Ta-da! And then maybe another one, maybe started here, and it goes off the page. And then comes back. And another, how about a circle here with a circle inside. And a circle here with a circle inside. And then another, oops, I dug in too far. Wavy line, back it up, smash it down. So we need, we'll start another one here. Okay, so there's my background. You can do any shapes you want. I think I'm gonna do some little circles there just to add a little more pattern, a little more fun. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this. This is going to be your decision. You get to decide. See, I could just leave it like that. That would look perfectly fine with my older tin border. That would look fine like that. But I think I want to paint it red because of the red lips. Either that or the yellow or green, because those are all going to stand out. It'll repeat the pattern. I think I'm going to do red because I did a red earlier on, and I really like the way it contrasted with that. So, this is not super fancy painting. Now for the frame. Take each piece of your frame and lay it out on top of the red mat and bend it to the back and glue it down. Now I found out that I didn't have space for both of them with the frame, so I just chose to do one. If you wanted to put both of them on the same mat, just leave off the frame. Or you could do more. Here's some more examples of ways to frame out. These are some that other ones that I colored. I cut out the aluminum foil. So just have a good time with this. There's so many different ways that you can do it. Put a string through it and you could hang it up like an ornament or a sun catcher. So many things you can do. So here are some other pictures, some other ideas. I can't wait to see what you do. Have a great time with it.